Okay, so for this session, we're going to go and create in this area here the bow tie, and this is our reference image for the bow tie. So it's kind of like a bat creature. So again, starting with the pen tool, I'll just kind of draw the eye of our, what is that, like a bat cat? A cat with a little bit of bat wings. And just like with the face, I'm going to start from the eye area and build from there. And just like was with the head, we're kind of going outwards from the eye and making a little bit tweaks. Again, it's difficult in such an early stage to exactly, guess the curvature and everything. Well, we can always change that if you feel it's too curved or not curved enough. As you go along, you're going to start to be, the shape is going to become more and more clear. And right now, just kind of putting, again, going to use the symmetry mode while making this, and from the eye, kind of going towards the nose, the root of the nose. And you can see the process is quite similar as when we created Jack's head. Kind of this side naturally goes into the nose, and the nose already gives us a little bit more of a shape of the head. So I'm just kind of, roughly defining the curvature of the head, and I'll use that kind of as an anchor in my modeling process, just to have a better idea where the middle of the head is. And just kind of extending this to create the cheekbone and the eyebrow area. Of course, it's always easier when you have some reference images, but it's also nice for you to see how you can go about creating things like this without any front plate or side plate. That is going to open a bit of a bigger area for some shape mistakes, but these things are generally easy to fix. Whether the head is too narrow, something like this, you can just stretch it, and it should be that. And of course, we should be mindful of the whole area this model that we're creating right now is going to take in our image. It's just a small ornament, so this gives us a lot of freedom. We don't have to be crazy precise or go too much into the topology. Which of course doesn't mean we're going to be sloppy about it. So I'm just figuring out how to close up this nose area right here. And we're kind of faced with the same topology problems that we're faced when creating a bigger head or something like this. So it's also a good experience, And we can see already very quickly we're starting to get kind of the shape. So I just like to use the extend tool to draw out in the right view the shape, and then just kind of start to fill up the gaps. And once you mirror, you really start to see the shape happening there. Of course, in this particular case, we also have to think about the ears that are going to go on the top of the head. So as I'm modeling this, I'm kind of keeping that in the back of my head. So this is why I'm leaving this area empty right now. And we're slowly starting to close this shape. So now I'm just kind of checking first whether Camtasia is recording my screen. Right now I'm just kind of thinking about this ear and how to close this up, how to close up these edge loops. What's going to happen there? That's the, okay. Now some of the points are not well together, or sometimes during the extend process you're going to have some double polygons. So just kind of go through those basic checks just to see whether some polygons are whether you have two polygons instead of one, and whether all the points are well together. That's basically what I did. And this can really happen, when you mirror or use bevel, or when you use extend. Now back to the modeling. I'm just kind of thinking about this area here, and kind of being mindful of the ear that's going to have to and grow from there. And now we're kind of faced with this dilemma, having more polygons on one side and on the other, and we have to see how we're going to weld this up, connected. Trying to avoid 3-point polygons, and of course avoiding 5 or more point polygons. So this is the solution I went for. And as we continue modeling, we add a bit more of edge loops, and that allows us to define certain areas a little bit more. And now again, I'm kind of cornered into this 3-point polygon here, and just trying to see whether I can get away with it or not. Now basically 3-point polygons are not bad as long as they're not causing any pinching. So if you can get away with it, and no problem. And yeah, pretty happy with what we have. It's looking pretty good, as Larry David would say. Pretty good. And now I'm just defining the skull shape a bit more, adding a bit more edge loops. And of course, as we close these things up, we're kind of faced with that dilemma that we always have when we're creating round objects, and that is to kind of deal with the edge flow. And this back area actually is never going to be visible, so we really don't have to be too philosophical about it. We do see some pinching there, and I'm going to shuffle edges a little bit here and there, but this is more like diligence than really need, because in the end it's really not going to be seen in our model at all. So especially this, like really the back area, you should just kind of work to close it up and not waste too much time on it. Because as we see, in our reference image, the back area is really not visible. So kind of looking at it from different angles, and now seeing how I'm going to take care of this front area here. So I'm kind of leaving that back, for later on. Also, this front area is going to add a bit more edge loops, and is going to probably impose the solutions for the back area. And since this front area is, more important, it's going to be seen, I decided, to model that front area first, and then, according to the edge loops I get there, we'll close up the back area. And this is also something you can do, sometimes when you're just stuck in one part of the model, with the edge loops, really don't know how to close it up or something like that. You can always go to some other area and see whether, while making that other area, it's going to present additional edge loops and, solutions for those parts where you may be stuck. And this is kind of a small example of that. Okay. So I'm just kind of adding an edge loop there and figuring out how we're going to connect this area with obviously a bigger poly count up there. So I'm going to add, of course, one more edge loop there. And again, as we build this up, we're kind of getting again into these areas where we need to close up at the end. And yeah, when we mirror, we also get the idea of the general shape. So I'm kind of looking at the model from different angles again, seeing where do I need to add more edge loops, and where do I have this space, and really how to approach a couple of problems that we have right now in our topology. Now we have to connect all the dots, as they would say. So yeah, no way through it but to do it. I'm just going to go and add a bit more edge loops. Here I have a little bit of problem. As you can see, when I'm turning into sub edges, not all the points are welded, or perhaps I have some double polygon. So I'm just kind of deleting that to make a clean start there. Again, I have this error that's popping out. That I have obviously somewhere something is a bit off. But anyway, sometimes these bugs can just pop out if you cannot immediately see what's exactly wrong. It might be just a bug alarm. So I decided to not get too much into that right now. Rather, to see how I can close this area up, as that is going to affect my edge flow on this area which is left unclosed. So just kind of giving the polygons a bit more space, relaxing the mesh up a bit. Now, I know I'm going to add an edge loop there because it has enough space for this, but I'm still not 100% certain how I'm going to close this up. I'm just kind of seeing what would happen if I welded this, just to see if a solution would present itself. And I did like the direction in which I went with that weld. So I'm just kind of seeing where this is going to take me. Sorry. So as you're building this, you're kind of tackling one situation, and then seeing if that will present a solution for some other edge loop conundrum that you have to solve. Now we did start from a pretty dense situation down there, and that's always kind of a bit more difficult. So found a nice way to remove some of the edge loops and still preserve the curvature that I wanted, and that of course made things a lot easier to connect. I didn't want to add more and more edge loops to kind of make things a little bit difficult to manage, to get those nice round curves. But instead, it's always better if you can find a edge loop solution that rather reduces your poly count than increases it. And right here, I was pretty happy with that, and kind of it all came together by closing that up. And once we go into mirror, we really see what we have in the shape. So I'm happy with what we have so far, and this is a perfect spot to save our work. Still a little bit more work to be done on Jack's bow tie, and we're going to do that in the next session.